morning, everyone. Today is March 9th. My name is Amy Paretsky, and I'm chair of the Design Review Committee. This open meeting of the Design Review Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on July 16th, 2022. I can hear if someone could mute, I can hear myself. All members of the Design Review Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The Act allows the Design Review Committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda, unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. This meeting will not feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Dario DeMar?
Here.
Dave Varon?
He was just here.
Yeah, I see him.
Dave, you're muted.
Here.
And Lisa Maselli.
Here.
And staff, when I call your name, please respond. Lori Connors.
Here.
Federico.
Here.
The chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair taking care to identify themselves. It is now 8:37. The first on our agenda is 78 West Main Street. And what I have, where we left off, we were talking about a fence and the rain garden. Tom, I'm not sure if you would like to speak to that or present anything else new that you brought today.
I believe that WDA has responded to Lori with the documentation and addressed most of the issues that were raised in the last meeting. So I would turn this over to Carolyn and Barry to go through the list regarding buffering on the edges, the photometric plan, drainage calculations, etc. Those are all items that they have forwarded to Lori.
Sure, that would be great.
So Carolyn or Barry?
Okay. Good morning. My name is Carolyn Burke from WDA Design Group. I would like to share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so we have addressed comments from the town and would like to just provide some our responses in this presentation. I'd like to start with some existing photos as a refresher. One is the entrance drive from West Main Street. 2, the front view of the existing building. 3 is the west side view from Apex Dental. 4, east side view towards Dunkin' Donuts. 5th is the landscape view along the east property line. 6 is the east elevation of the existing building. 7 is the asphalt pavement at the rear of the building. 8, the slope at the western addition area. 9 is the landscape at the rear of the property, and 10, similarly, at the rear of the property. And 11 is the view from the driveway at Dunkin' Donuts. This is our existing conditions of the building, showing the large parking area, the wetland area, the vegetation. And our proposed plan. On our proposed plan, we have improved the aesthetics of the rain garden, the shallow basin. We've created a rain garden, and we've added the screening along the west side of the property line at the apex dental. That screening consists of arborvitae, and it consists of yew shrubs. And then in the lower area of the slope, we have some viburnum. To address the letter responses, we have updated the zoning classification table to reflect the correct zoning. We have updated our photometric plan to eliminate spillover onto the Dunkin' Donuts area. We will request a waiver for a variance of the width of the buffer area along the east side. We've adjusted the planting plan to show tree height at a minimum of 6 feet tall. We have revised our planting plan, and I'll show you some examples of the plants that have been included in our rain garden. It consists of iris, goldenrod, New England aster, boneset, switchgrass, and the shrubs summer sweet and red sprite type of holly. We've added the erosion control plan to the drawing set, and we've adjusted the location of the dumpster. We've set it back a foot and towards the property line a foot. We've added the enclosure for the dumpster, and we've added the screen planting, as I've mentioned, consisting of the arborvitae along the west property line as requested.
So that should be all the grading, I think, takes us from the street back to the part of the did, and I had a couple minor tweaks on that one. I did the 30 scale, let me grab that. Awesome.
And this is the updated planting plan. This is a picture of the proposed style of the dumpster enclosure and our updated photometric plan. All right, thank you. Are there some questions and comments?
Thank you very much. Lori, that sounds like it covers your letter, your review letter. Okay. Does anybody else have any comments? Any board members?
Maybe I do.
Sure, Lisa.
Okay, it's just a few things probably going back. Can we bring up the photos that you had, number 3 west side view? It's going to be a couple questions on that, and then yes, right there. So if I'm looking at this, I'm assuming that that's snow. That would make perfect sense if it's a current picture. Is that correct, or is that just stone? Can you hear me?
Looks like gravel.
It's gravel.
That is
crushed
gravel
stone.
put in there.
Probably a new piece put in, probably to fill something up, I would imagine.
Yep.
Landscaping
So
is-
just get rid of all that and do the grading, so even the tree lines, just check the tree lines because it's all wooded, so. Yeah, so get rid of all that. And then this side.
Did somebody mute themselves?
Okay, so yes, this is gravel along the driveway at the apex side.
All right, so my comment starts with, because you're going to have such a close addition to this lot line, which shows pretty well here because it goes right up to that, the pavement, does it not?
No, it's about 10, 15 feet away from the existing paving.
Okay, then, well, the lot line that we saw in the plan showed that there was kind of a combination of stepping over from both sides, probably to the lower right of this photograph. And that, yeah, come down to the, well, more the street side, let's call it the street side. Yes, down through there. So when looking back at the plans, that lot line seems to intermingle between both properties. And when we were talking about putting in, and I don't know if it drops, is it flush? Is it the same elevation on the driveway and the landscaping area?
It is in the front of the building. They are the same elevation, but soon as you turn the corner and head north, the site drops off 6 to 8 feet to the back of the property.
Okay. And as it drops off, that's the area that we were actually starting to talk about, how that will affect whoever's living in the house with lights and such from the driveway. How, and for the tree line or for the fence line or whatever, there was concern that the fence would be knocked over with snow removal from apex and push against it. So plantings were put in instead to create some of that buffer. Am I correct?
That's correct.
And there will be no fence at all in that area.
We're proposing to
That's
use
correct.
arborvitae, yes.
So is the, and what's the height of the arborvitae that's going to be put in there?
6 feet.
It's 6 to 7 feet.
And I know it's a kind of a crazy question, but again, going to a tree symposium, that they're discussing to put in different varieties as opposed to one in a straight line, because some things die and just the look of having some dead and some alive doesn't always please people. So is there a way that you can have a selection, not necessarily just the same arborvitae that's going down that line, to create just a little bit of safety for life?
So if the goal is to have effective screening, I think that we think that the best option is to use a good cultivar that's going to provide screening within this limited space. And we've selected a variety that will do that. So
Yes.
to create the screening and the barrier as you have requested, we believe one variety is the way to go. We have a lot of diversity. We have a robust planting plan at this stage throughout the property.
Yes, that's not going to help our lighting at all, though. So, and you're saying you're matching it with you. So if I'm looking at your drawing, the darker circles coming, not this one necessarily, but the darker circles that come to the face and to the west going up to the north. Yes. Not that.
Can you show the proposed drawing? There you go.
That's a proposed, yes. No, that's proposed? Yes, it is. Okay, so what we're looking at where it's kind of, it doesn't have circles, that's all arborvitae?
This is arborvitae, yes.
And then the ones with circles are just,
That's viburnum on the slope.
So in essence, Lisa, they are doing what you're talking about, but the masses that you're talking about in that symposium you went to, there's a certain place and a time for that. In this case, where they're trying to do screening, that's not the right spot or right place for it. In this situation, they're trying to do a screen, and what Carolyn's proposing here is actually correct as far as what they're trying to do.
well, I'm not questioning that or even the line of it. I'm just saying that sometimes you'll get a row of them that some will die. And I know that there's more than one there's one, in the family, there's more than one. Is there not?
Yeah, but in a screen situation such as this, you don't want to have, like, if you take a bunch of pocket change and just throw it in a row, you want to have the same variety, in the screening. And in this case, you take that same variety and write in a row. This is correct for a screen in a wall type situation like this. You want to stick with that same variety right here. But then, they have the arborvitae and then the viburnum in the end, and then in the front, it was a used. That works as far as the screening goes here.
Okay. What's the height of the viburnum? Those are usually,
Carolyn, what did you put in for the height there? Was that 6 feet as well? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Let's flip to the planting plan. Those are 7-gallon.
in terms of height, how high? 4 feet, 3 feet?
So 7-gallon size can range in really can range in height, depend upon what the landscape contractor or what is available to the landscape contractor.
But what's
Range
it,
from what to what?
From what to what? I would say 3 to 4 feet.
and what do you do about the perpetuity part of the, that side that'll have a lot of, probably activity with the driveway next door? How is it gonna be?
So the driveway comes down, you can see here, this is basically the edge of the driveway. The arborvitae is going beyond the edge of the driveway.
What's that got to do with perpetuity?
I'm sorry, I don't hear you.
Perpetuity is my concern because you've got a lot of activity that'll be happening in the driveway through the seasons. How are these lines going to be kept in perpetuity and kept up as landscaping goes? I would assume if we're going to put it up there for a buffer, we want to keep it, right?
Yes, well, the proposed viburnum is a native species to this type of environment, and it is naturalized in these conditions. It will do well on this slope in this condition over a period of time.
I'm sorry, I like the those. I'm not talking about those. I was just talking about the arborvitae. They're
Yes.
they're difficult to keep up over a course of time. There's a lot of death that happens with them.
There can be a comment or condition added to this special permit granting authority to keep the plantings in perpetuity. There usually is. But we can add that comment.
All right, I think that's a great idea.
Could we also have the design review committee observe the planting in perpetuity? Just like the planting has got to exist in perpetuity? I mean, who's gonna oversee this?
It's part of this. It's part of the bylaws. Why do they put them in the bylaws if we aren't supposed to adhere to them?
Well, that portion then I guess doesn't conform to reality. I mean, nothing lasts forever here. But
Then
I think what is proposed is an appropriate screening.
If I may,
We could just have screening in perpetuity and improper.
Right, because they could go back with a fence. If the,
Yeah, Bob's got this figured out.
if I may,
Sure.
it's in the bylaws, and I believe it's in more than one place, that when a special permit granting authority issues a special permit, the maps and plans, i.e. in the details, like the plantings and the fences and all that stuff, is required to be maintained in perpetuity. We have had cases where plantings were planted over the course of 30 years, they became overgrown. The property owner removed them. And we had to go back and require that the property owner replant those trees because they were required as part of the screening plan for that original site plan. So in terms of who monitors it, it becomes a zoning issue. And it's up to the zoning enforcement officer to see that these are maintained.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, I have, can we go back to the colored site plan, please?
I just wanted to make one comment. Lori is having a trouble with when she turns on her, when she comes off mute, everything's like in stereo and she can't hear anything. So she's watching, but she can't say anything. I just want to let people know.
So the side yard setbacks are 0, is that correct?
Yes.
So if Apex decides they want to build right on their property line, what happens to those bedrooms? Is that a fire rated wall? Because we'd be 6 feet from a building? Or would they not be allowed and this stop them from doing something they want to do in the future? How does that work?
Well, if they built on the property line, we'd still be more than 5 feet from the property line with the proposed addition.
Correct.
We can't predict what Apex might do in the future.
Oh, so they would be allowed to do that and everything would comply? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
according to zoning, you can build up to the property line.
Right, but I think that's a lot with commercial, when you have bedroom windows needed for egress. I was just curious how that plays out.
Well, our proposed addition is more than 5 feet from the existing property line.
Okay. And then the other question is, we've got, and I don't know what Bob has, but it looks like normally when we have parallel parking with 18-foot cars, we have a 24-foot drive aisle. This looks like it's 16, which is shorter than the length of some cars or trucks. How do you back out with only 16 feet behind the car?
Well, I think the minimum allowed is 18 for this type of,
Okay, well, it's 16.
I don't know what the dimension is here.
Look right up, look at the one closest to the road. I planned it out PDF at 16 feet, but that's, you guys can check that if you want. Right there, that space, from the end of that, exactly. If that's 18 feet, the stripe, you can see that the space behind it is shorter. And the other question is, if you look at the back 4 spaces have tire stops, which is good because they're 2 feet back from the sidewalk so that the sidewalk works, but the front 4 spaces don't have the tire stops, which means when the car pulls in 2 feet over the sidewalk, you're only going to have maybe 3 feet between the car and the building. It seems really tight, the parking, especially when you come in on a curb cut that's maybe 22 feet, and the first thing you hit is the back of the car parked in that space when you enter the site, because the car pops out into the curb cut. I don't know how that works. I've never seen a 16-foot drive aisle with an 18-foot car or parking stall. Anyway, that's a question.
Okay, we'll look at that.
And then the snow removal, where's that happening? Is that happening in the back?
So I just wanted to add it. We will look at that dimension, but I believe it is 18 feet backing up.
Okay, well, maybe the scale's wrong. Okay, yeah, well, just if you put a dimension
is.
there, as long as we adhere to it, that'd be great.
It is 18 feet. So snow removal can occur along the east side, or it can occur in this area between the end of the parking and the rain garden.
Are we planting on the right-hand side? I thought we were planting on the right-hand side.
We are not planting in this zone at the front
The zone further.
where the
south.
cursor is, where the
Yeah, I
cursor is
understand.
shown. Mhm.
Right, but beyond that, we're planning all the way from the second parking stall all the way back. Is that correct?
Let's see, let's go to the planting plan.
Or just go to the site plan. It's shown on the site plan. Everything's kind of there.
So
Yeah,
you can see we have, yeah,
Yeah, we're planning all the way except for 3
From-
spaces.
from the, starting basically at the 4th.
Yeah, right.
So we have
Those-
this zone, yes, and we have this zone.
So I guess if I'm plowing, and Dave would know better than me, I'm gonna push it all to the back. That's the way that everything slopes, and then all that salt and sand goes in and through the rain garden and into the wetlands. Because that's the natural terrain. And then one last question, and I'm not involved in this, but there's a big do not disturb, and we're building a lot of building in it. Is that just a variance that we're getting, or how does that work?
Yes, there's a variance. The existing building is in the do not build zone. So,
I understand.
so we are asking for variances and special permits.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. No, I understand it's in pre-existing non-conforming. Usually you're not allowed to worsen those. But okay, that answers my question. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, I just had some comments. Do we want to come back and double check on the driveway calculations, or she answered your question?
Well, when I scaled it, it was 16, but maybe there's a different drawing.
Okay, we can put a comment too to double check.
Yeah, just make sure it's a 18 minimum and then you're done. If it's 18 minimum and an 18-foot parking space, then there's no problem.
Yep,
I think you'll find out the drawings will change.
okay. Bob, did you check these, or that's something Fred does, actually? The parking?
I'm looking into it now. I'm gonna have to dig some further research into it. I
Okay,
don't want to speak before I fully research it,
right,
but I think that the minimum driveway access is gonna need to be enlarged. Otherwise I think they can ask for a waiver, but I'm not sure. I'll write something up.
okay.
All right, so the driveway access that's shown is 20 feet. The parking area that we have in question is 18 feet.
Okay, if you'll allow me, I'll read right out of the zoning code.
Sure.
It's in the parking section. Capital C, off-street parking design standards for this particular zone. For facilities containing 5 or more spaces, the minimum width of access drive shall be 12 feet one-way use and 20 feet for two-way use. And the maximum width shall be 16 feet for one-way use and 24 feet for two-way use. The maximum width of such driveways at the property line shall be 24 feet. Minimum curb radius shall be 15 feet. The issuing authority may approve modifications of these width and radius requirements to facilitate traffic flow and safety. And the rest of it is non-applicable to this particular situation.
And we're two-way because we're going in and out. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
So they have set minimums in the issuing authority. I'm gonna assume that's the special permit granting authority. May approve a modification.
Okay.
thank you.
So sorry if I didn't catch it. It's 20 feet for two-way, so are they meeting it?
24 feet for two-way.
24 feet is the maximum.
Yeah, 20 is the minimum.
Okay.
All right, I just figured out I'm on mute here again. All right, to answer your question on the snow. For pushing down and going to the right, there should be enough room to push everything straight down to the left of the dumpster. Going towards the rain garden there, and any overflow will go right next to the dumpster and to the left of the dumpster. And then along the right-hand side there. And then when the cars are out of there, they should be able to either push to the left over there or turning around and then going back towards the road. Probably occupying a little bit of the spot, or the best thing would be again to the left over down towards the rain garden up in there. That would be the spot for this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So in your opinion, you feel there's enough?
Yeah, that should do.
Yeah, there's enough. It's just all near the wetlands. That's the only point.
Yeah,
Right.
you go back and a little bit over to the right. But it's a smaller lot than what it was, but you know, it's just not huge.
Right. And I guess, I don't know if, have you gone in front of groundwater, Tom?
We have had 2 informal meetings with them, and that's next on our list. And we'll
Okay.
probably be going before the ZBA in May, because they don't meet in April.
Okay. And does it have to go in front of Concom?
Yes,
Did it do that yet?
no.
Okay. Because I think they would have to look into the wetlands, right? And they would have to know if you're pushing snow over there and how it's going to affect it.
Actually, I think we met on site with Fred and members of the Conservation Commission initially.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Does that answer everybody's questions? Do we have any outstanding questions or concerns that we'd like to forward to other committees?
Yes, well, I would like to just get back to what they're going to do about that drive entrance. Are they going to request another variance on their application, or are they going to come back and show us a change?
My understanding is it's 20 feet, so it's conforming as drawn.
Okay.
It's 18 feet as drawn, I was just told.
Carolyn, did you not say there was a 20-foot width?
I will double check this on the CAD. I just measured the drawing. It showed 20 feet.
Okay,
Yes, I've
Well-
scaled it from the curb cut entry. It's 20 feet in this location.
Right, at that location, behind the 18-foot parking stalls, what is it?
Behind here,
Yes.
that's 18 feet.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure. That's 18, it should be 20.
Where this cursor is, that should be 20?
Yes. As what he just read, it's what Bob just read out of the codes.
All right, so we will make this zone 20.
All along the parking spaces. It needs a 20-foot drive aisle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, does that make the buffer zone smaller or the buffer?
Yes, that would cut into 2 feet into this buffer zone, yes.
Yes.
How wide is the buffer zone right now?
It's about 6 feet.
So it would bring it down to 4?
Approximately. See, it's not parallel. This is not parallel to the property line, so it's going to vary.
Right. Okay. So you would need a variance from the ZBA to go from a 10-foot buffer zone to 4 feet?
Yes, we are applying for a variance for a reduced buffer width.
Okay.
Is it a variance or a waiver?
A waiver.
All right. I'm gonna just text Lori really fast because she can't connect and ask her if she has any questions because she's watching. I just want to make sure she doesn't have any questions.
Hi, unfortunately, I'm on the line with technical support to figure out how to solve the problem. So I am logged into a laptop so I can hear what's being said now. And I have my computer muted, so he's doing a repair job. So I don't have any questions at this point, but I am able to hear you. So I'm just working with him to fix the problem, and hopefully I'll be able to participate in a few minutes.
We can hear you now.
Yes, because I'm on my laptop. So the problem is that I was unable to successfully mute YouTube, so I was hearing everything in stereo, so I couldn't comprehend what anybody was saying. So he's trying to fix the problem.
Okay. As far as the committee, we've reviewed the design of the building. Did you have a chance to look at the design of the building? Dario, do you have any questions?
No, I don't actually.
Okay. So we.
The stairs on the floor plans don't match the site plan. I'm not sure which one they're gonna build. If you look at the first floor plan, the stair comes out perpendicular to the back, and on the site plan, it's a switchback.
Do you know which one is going to be built, Tom?
I see that they've moved the platform and made it, mine was an L-shaped plan. Either one will work. Probably the site plan gives them more access to the basement level. There's an existing door there shown on the site plan, so that I can modify my stair.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so any other questions, Dario, on the design?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, so we've reviewed the design and we've also gone over the landscaping. Is everybody on board with the landscaping the way it is right now? Sounds like it will be monitored in perpetuity. It sounds like it's a buffer, at least to me, a buffer between the house and the business zones next door. Is everybody ready? we're not going to take an official vote, but we could write a review memo saying that we've reviewed the design and landscape at 78 West Main Street and have no additional comments unless anyone has a comment they'd like to add to the letter.
I'm fine with all the landscaping. I forget, is a 3-foot sidewalk, does that meet code where the cars would overhang? Or does that not meet code?
This is not a 3-foot sidewalk. This is a 5-foot sidewalk.
Right, with a 2-foot overhang of a car going over when it hits the curb. Most cities don't allow that. We just did one in Weston and we did one in Sharon. They said you have to have 4 or 5 foot clear, so we had to have a 7-foot sidewalk because of the 2-foot overhang. People drive their cars till the tires hit the curbs. And then it becomes 3 feet usable. I'm not sure what our codes are.
Hi, everyone. It's the part 2 of the March 9th design review meeting. It's 9:21. We had some technical difficulties, but I think we're all back. Lori, I think we might be missing Bob still. But so I don't know if Bob's going to join us again. I think he's probably trying. But we should try to continue where we left off. Dario was talking about the sidewalk and the overhang.
Correct.
And I was wondering, can bumpers be added there? So there is no overhang?
Yes, we can add bumpers up to the first two where we have the shrubs.
Yeah, perfectly fine with the shrubs. It's just, you're walking with your groceries in the winter and it's slippery and you got 3 feet and whatever from a bumper sticking out. It just gets kind of weird, especially with the big trucks that are out there now. The plow blades and they back up and everything else.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Was there another question from Lori?
No, I'm all set.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
right now, the comments I would have for the letter would be to add the bumpers to the 1, 2, 3, 3 parking spaces along the sidewalk. I'd like to mention to the groundwater committee or the conscom to check the snow calculations. I'm not sure which group would do that. And to make sure that the snow isn't going to be pushed into the rain garden in the wetlands.
And I guess, Amy, the only other thing is if the distance between the stairs and the parking lot doesn't look like it's quite 5 feet either.
Okay. So we could have a comment that make sure there's 5 feet of sidewalk between the stairs.
Whatever
And-
code is, I don't know, I don't know
Yeah.
the code, it just seems narrow. It's, Bob may know that, I'm sure, yeah, Tom knows that, whatever it is, or
Great.
Carolyn would know,
Okay, so make sure the sidewalk meets code.
that's all.
Yep. Should we also have make sure the driveway access meets code? Since
Yeah.
there are a couple questions.
Well, it should all meet code, that's, hopefully you don't have to state that, but yes, those are things that we're looking at that appear that they may not, so I'm just bringing them up, so I think erasers are a lot cheaper than jackhammers.
Yep. Okay,
Good point.
Lori, she's busy, but I just want to make sure someone's gonna check that. I'm sure Fred does. Fred is actually on vacation this week.
So we are going through site plan review on this, where it would be,
Perfect.
any of this would be checked.
Okay.
Is that at ZBA? Or who does it?
I'm not sure who it's coming in front of, the ZBA or the planning board.
Oh,
We
Okay.
haven't gotten the application yet.
yes. Did we actually get an application either? I haven't seen it. Or do
The
we,
ZBA application has not been submitted yet, but it's been completed. But we're going before the ZBA next.
oh, this is the first time I think we've ever done one without an application at design review. Is that unusual or is that a new standard?
My understanding is you could start the process with design review while you're working with the ZBA.
But you've been on here longer than I have. Have you had that happen before?
Well, I believe Lori said we could start the process with the staff and then design review and do it in conjunction with the application that's being worked on.
All right, so it's a new way of doing it. All right, I just wanted to check.
It's my
Okay.
understanding that that was the typical process in the past, but of course, I've only been here for a year, so I can only attest to, what's happened in the last year. But I think it's helpful for them to come to design review first, so that then by the time they are before the special permit granting authority or the ZBA, they have a project that is further advanced.
Well, I like that idea. But I mean, I know we're more of a, how pretty is it and how well is everybody gonna like it advisory committee, but I think in the beginnings where we had more information and a better understanding of what the whole project was going to be instead of just leaving it in a silo, I think I'd prefer to see those applications first and start it that way. It's just, we are all kind of going through trying to figure out how was best to help the developer and help the town. And I think some of the standards are changing, and I just wanted to know, being on a committee, how they're changing, when they're changing. And
Lisa, and I'll speak to that a little bit. I think these guys are doing the right thing. Even if they had half the information, it gives us a chance to review it before they spend tons and tons of money and then having it kicked back to us and then having to redo it. We're not an authority, we're advisory. But if you see some of these things that don't comply with the code, they can either seek a variance or make it comply before they spend a ton of time and money going in front of the more strict and authority people that have the authority to make the decisions. I'd want to know as an architect as much as I could before I finally went in front and tried to get my permits. This is great for them to see all this stuff ahead of time. In my opinion, if I'm a developer, I'd want to get all this up front before I do all my final apps.
Well, I'm not saying it that I don't, I'm just saying that we're changing kind of in midstream, and I hadn't seen it before, and it's just food for thought, something to ask about.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing that we never really get to discuss much is the fact that, the point of us being in design review is to not only look at what's coming forward on this lot, but how it fits into the area and the neighborhood, so to speak. And we're doing a master plan, and we're trying to get, the downtown revitalized and such. And the Route 20 area, especially this corridor area, is turning into residential as opposed to commercial. And for years in the past, it was residential, and they tried to make it into commercial. They changed the zoning. And now we're doing a really good job of bringing in residential back to that area. And we have several spaces that are starting to do this with residential. This is being a multifamily itself. And then the last one on the other side of Apex is a multi-use with the families upstairs. And across the street is 7 Monument Place, with the upstairs being apartments and the downstairs being commercial, which is still not open because they haven't finished what they were supposed to do years ago upstairs. And above them is a nice condo setting that Kevin Giblin put together. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what we really want to see down there, since we're just now changing it back into a residential atmosphere. So,
Lisa, I think they're great comments, and I want to swing back to it, but I just want to close up this
okay,
Yeah.
that's,
application, and then we'll go back to that, just so they can move on but I do think it's great input. But is there anything else for this application that we want to add? I was gonna, we can write a letter saying we have reviewed the design and landscaping of 78 West Main Street, and have the comment of adding the sidewalk buffers. Is there anything else we want to add? And check the driveway code,
Sidewalk width.
sidewalk width, and the driveway width. Those were the notes I wanted to say. And I'm changing the letters that go forward to say that we've reviewed the design and landscaping, because we don't really approve the whole site plan. In the past, there were some memos going forward to the design, to the special permit granting authority that said the design review has approved the site plan, and we don't go into all the aspects of the site plan. So that's why I would like the letter to say that we've reviewed the design of the building and the landscaping. Does anybody have any comments to add about that? Okay.
Do you say that it conforms with the design guidelines? I mean, do you make any definitive statement of whether it's consistent with the design review guidelines? Or are you just agnostic? Okay, we reviewed it. Now it's your turn to look at it.
Right, I've reviewed it. I actually would have to pull out the design review guidelines and go through it
Okay.
for this one. Like, it looks great. I think it matches because it was a beautiful building to begin with. I think the addition looks great. Did I
Can
go
you say
down the
that?
design? Huh?
Can you say that in your letter? That, I mean, do you just remain neutral?
We're legally not allowed to approve So we review and say, everything that we've reviewed, it's up to you guys now. If we had comments where we wanted to change, we put the comments in. And that's kind of where it ended up. I forget, there was some lawsuit or something that happened where we got caught on semantics.
Right.
So you don't draw any conclusion, you don't draw any conclusion from your review. You just say you performed the review.
Right.
Correct. And all our questions were addressed in the review and answered.
And the review is based on the design guidelines.
Correct.
No.
No, you don't implement the design guidelines? I'm trying to understand what you now see your role here and what kind of conclusion you come to, or it's just a process statement.
I was making a process statement, but in the future, I'm going to go back and look at all the design review guidelines, but then it is going to get a lot more technical. I mean, it was a building that was there before. I would think with a new building, we'd go back and review the design review guidelines to make sure it meets all the design review guidelines. But as it was a current building, since it met the design to begin with, I didn't want to go back to the design review guidelines and say, okay, well, you know, your windows are too small or you need shutters here or there. I felt that was too detailed since it was already, it's just an addition to a building that's already there.
I agree, Amy.
Because then you might end up with more than you are looking for. If you have to change your whole design. But like to Lisa's point she was getting at before, there does need continuity downtown, and we do need to make sure it all fits the design review guidelines. But for an addition, I didn't think we had to go that, as long as that route, as long as it matched what was there and it meant what we were looking for. The landscaping is the buffer. We looked at the landscape and the design of the building. But if you want us to go back to the design review guidelines, we could continue it and come back for one more meeting.
Certainly not.
So right now, I just wanted to write the letter that
Fine.
we've reviewed the design and the landscaping of 78 West Main Street. And the additional comment I had was that we're going to add bumpers to the sidewalks, make sure the sidewalks and the driveway meet code. Make sure the snow calculations meet code, if there is a code. Does anybody have anything else to add?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, it is about the process. We're not an authority. We're just giving a look at it.
Okay,
I don't have anything else to add.
okay. All right. Okay, so should we just take a vote that we agree with the letter? And one more thing I did want to add actually is I did review the plants in the rain gardens, and 2 of them said they were toxic if someone ingested them. And I'm sure everybody's yard has plants that are toxic to be ingested. And just if they were a family with kids, it said the bone set and the goldenrod were toxic if ingested. So I didn't know if you wanted to stick with all the others and leave those 2 out, but it's totally up to you. Should I make a motion? Oh, it's up to you. Does anyone have a comment?
I don't think we need personally.
I'm sorry, Lisa, I can't hear you.
I don't think we need to vote. I think the letter's fine.
Okay, everybody else think the letter's fine?
Yes.
Dave?
Dave, you're on mute.
You can give us a thumbs up if you think it's fine.
There we go. This nuts. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thanks, everybody at 78 West Main Street. Good luck with your next steps.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks for all.
Thank you all.
next on the agenda, I wanted to get to the minutes quickly because I'm not sure we're gonna have time for the next application because I know we all have to jump off at 10. I just want to make sure we reviewed the September 8th, 2022 minutes. Does anyone have any more additions? It looks like Dario, they added the motion back into the minutes that you had made back then for 56 Hudson Street. I double checked it. It looked fine. Does anybody else have any questions on the minutes from September 8th, 2022?
I do not.
Dave and Dario, any questions with the minutes?
Ooh,
Dario? I don't know if we lost them.
I was on mute that time. I was pretending to be Dave. I'm fine with it. Sorry.
Okay, can I have a motion that we approve the September 8th, 2022 minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? Dave seconds. All right.
This is too much fun.
All right, so now we have to vote. Dario, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave and Lisa. Lisa, you and I?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, those minutes have
This is
been
way too
moved.
much fun.
Right.
oh, dears.
It'll only get more fun if we get disconnected again. So we better approve the next minutes fast.
All right, let's go.
All right, so did everybody have a chance to look at the November 10th, 2022 minutes?
Oh, rats.
I
Is
did.
everybody okay with them?
Good. I am, yes.
Okay. I'd like to, does anyone make a motion to approve the November 10th, 2022 minutes?
So moved.
Second? Dave seconds. All right, Lisa,
Aye.
Dario,
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Let's say we gave you time to unmute. Okay, the minutes have been approved. It's now 9:39. Does anyone think we have time to hear the application for 343 Hudson Street, or would it be too rushed probably at this point? It's a duplex.
I think it's
I
probably,
do have a hard stop right at 10.
I think
Perhaps they could just do their presentation since. they
Sure.
It's long.
Sure.
And just continue to the future meeting.
Good
Sure.
idea.
Are they in the audience?
Yes, we're here.
Okay. Will you be presenting or Mr. Pember?
I think George is supposed to be presenting the attorney.
Okay, George, you there? George, you're on mute if you're speaking. We can't see or hear you. I don't have his text, if anybody can text him.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm not sure what's happening with my computer. At least we got the audio anyway. I think the presentation should be made by our architect. Bruno is the architect with us.
Sure.
Bruno?
Yes, hi, here's Al Martin.
All right, let's have Al make a brief presentation because we only have 20 minutes.
Hello,
Okay.
how you doing, guys?
Great, thanks.
Have you guys have a chance to get a copy of the design plans that we're proposing?
We did. Do you want me to share the screen or do you have?
Please, if you don't mind, I think that'll be better.
Okay. All right, I just have to.
I already shared it. You should be all set to share.
Okay, are these what you want to be pulled up? Do you see this? This is the site plan. Or do you want the picture of the building?
Yeah, so the site plan should be, if there are questions with the site plan and the landscape design, that should be addressed to Cornerstone,
Okay,
that they're the surveyors and engineers of record. So any questions regarding the building itself, those questions should be directed to me.
Okay, so I'll try to
if
pull up
we
the
want to
building.
review the exterior of the building, the proposed building,
Okay, let me see if I have that. Lori, do you have that? I thought this was all in one.
I can't reshare. I can't
Okay.
share based on the last experience, so. The applicant should be prepared to share the screen. I believe that was already explained before the meeting.
Oh, here they are. Do you guys see this?
No,
No. All right, well, I found them, so I'm gonna share them. Let's hope I pull up the right one. Let's see.
Whoop.
You see that?
Hold on.
yes,
Okay.
This is familiar.
Right, I think this has been in front of us before.
The new plan looks like many I've seen.
Okay, would you like to speak to it?
sure. So let me just pull mine up here. So the proposed is a duplex with a total of 2,100, close to 2,200 square foot each unit. Front faced garage face the street. The unit can consist of 4 bedrooms, 1 with the master suite, 2.5 bathrooms, and a rear deck with a bulkhead. So it's a flat site. So we would need a bulkhead instead of a walkout. The exterior of this duplex, based on the design review guidelines, and our understanding, it complies, such as it has various types of siding, it has premium siding, it has stone veneers in the front. This building also has a farm style entry porch. It has customized windows and shutters. This provides different types of blended roofs, such as A-gables, shed roofs, metal roofing above the garage. Okay. This building also proposes a bay window on the sides per the design guidelines. And it has sophisticated trim around the windows. Those and you know, last and foremost, this design also proposes premium columns in the farmer's porch, as long as 36 inches height minimum for the railings as well. So our understanding is that every design guideline that's been specified on your latest approved design guideline has been met. Again, regarding the fencing, drainage, planting, and driveway design, that would be, you know, coming at a later date after we get the look of the building approved by the board.
Wait a minute. Really?
Okay. One thing we also like to see is where it sits on the, compared to the neighbors. Like, we like to see the pictures of where it's gonna be in comparison. Now,
Say that again.
we like to see a picture of, like, I know the before picture is probably the old house, right?
Correct.
And how it relates to the neighbors. Like, is it on the property line? Is it in the middle of the lot?
Okay, so so that answer would have to come from the most recent site plans. That certainly, you know, if it helps the board to put a PowerPoint with all these pictures and the building located in the site plan. If that's helpful, that's something we have to get with the survey and get it done. But as of right now, this is all we have.
Okay. A question I have.
oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, is this a tear down? So is the old building gonna be torn down?
Yes.
Okay, because originally I think they were gonna just fix the old house. So this is a tear down. Is it in the similar footprint, do you know?
Amy, I'm just gonna speak for 2 seconds. They
Sure.
gave us a site plan at the end. It's the very
Mhm.
last sheet on their submission, so it shows the building being torn down. It shows where this one is being located. The only thing it doesn't show, which would be really simple to show, is the buildings on the 2 adjacent properties. And that's something that should be 5 minutes to do, but I think, looking at what they did, the drawing by Cornerstone shows the existing dwelling. This barely overlaps, but they did give us all that except the actual buildings. They showed all the adjacent lots. They didn't show the buildings. So if you want to see those in context.
Okay,
Yeah, so most of the stuff is here from what I could see, but I agree that's a pretty simple thing for Cornerstone to do as well.
I agree, Dario.
To add on, also, one of the things that we do here is we do look at the landscape, we do look at the fencing, we kind of look at everything overall. We don't do it in pieces, we kind of look at the entire project, and how that also looks with the surrounding homes as well. So we're kind of looking for the whole project as an entirety. And when, what it's going to look like as a finished product. We don't do piece by piece by piece. It's here's everything, present everything, and then we kind of go forward from there.
If I can interject, we're planning on coming back before you again. Today, the purpose was just to have you take a peek at the building itself. And we do plan to come back one more time. And this time when we come back, we'll have a representative of Cornerstone with us. And we'll show you more of the area itself, and we'll coordinate between Cornerstone and our architect here. And we'll show the landscaping and the fencing and the driveways and so forth.
okay, that's great. And I want to thank Dave and Dario too for pointing it out, because we just don't want to waste your time too. And
Right.
we'd like to let you know what we're looking for.
And my gut feel on this, I don't mind giving you that either. Your front elevation, I think, looks good. And I will even give you a hats off, because you did something that's very subtle, that means a lot. And I understand why you did it, and we appreciate it by just popping out one of the garages. It's a foot further, but it really breaks up that elevation. And thank you and hats off to you for that. That's being really sensitive to what we're trying to accomplish. So, to me, and that's just one person's opinion. And I'm an architect with a lot of opinions, but in this case, I think you guys did a good job, just for what that's.
Appreciate that, Dario.
And I agree with Dario, because it offsets, it's just not a straight flat box, even though it is technically a big box. It starts to offset it, which is key.
Okay. Yeah, and if we have to offset backwards or forward one of the units to make it look even better, I've discussed with Cornerstone, and we do have the setbacks to at least offset the building, either bring it forward or backward at least another foot, so we can break the design even further if required by the board.
Yeah, and the back's a little stark, but that's not really as big of a deal, in my opinion. It's the only problem with the back is it's overlooking that Overlook Park. So, some trim or something, it's just a little bit, I'm not asking it to look like the front, because that's not fair to you guys. But I think you guys did a really good job. And the pergolas help too.
Yeah, thank you, Dario.
The pergola's actually going in?
If they're drawn, they're
The
going in.
board.
Is that right? Yeah, I like it. Well, I do like that set back a little bit. I suppose we shouldn't ask too many questions now because we don't have a lot of time and we're just looking at it quickly. I hope that the next meeting we can get into detail, and then if need be, go for a third meeting. Because when you said sophisticated trim on the windows, I assume it's the same trim on the windows, doors, and garage doors, correct?
They would all, the sophisticated ones these days are the material is AZEK. It's one of the top of the line trims that's out in the market. So we intend to use those, and I can outline them in the plans for our next meeting.
Okay, well, that's what I mean. We get into detail at the next meeting. We're here. It's a nice overview and it looks, it's lovely. But I think we do have to start getting into that detail, so.
Okay, okay. This was good to get the ball rolling, to get a feel of what the board's opinions and thoughts are. That'll help us shape things up.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I appreciate that. You have a great weekend.
Okay, we'll see you next
Thank
month.
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
So we want to be on the agenda for the next meeting. So when is the next meeting, please?
we're usually the second Thursday of the month. I have to look. I
So
can't
April-
believe years
April
flying by.
13th.
April 13th.
Also at 8:30?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, you'll be first.
good. Thank you.
Thank you for all the information.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. It's 9:53. We're
Oh.
doing good.
Wow.
I just want to, I think, Lisa, I said I'd swing back to you, so we have 7 minutes. I didn't want to cut you off with your discussion about downtown.
No, I appreciate it. I find that, we keep running out of time and we haven't been able to really discuss stuff. Like, I don't even think we've finalized even though the design review guidelines has that actually been finalized? Do we actually have a booklet now that we give them?
Yep,
So that
it has been finalized. It was voted on at the planning board meeting and it was accepted. And it's listed on the website.
All right.
So, but if we want a printout, we can request it from Lori and Michelle.
Okay. I'm old school, so I think I'd like a printout because sometimes you can't get these computers to work the way you want.
Right.
But
We knew they would be on that.
but I just think, I think we lose sometimes you have to refer back to some of the things that have happened and, talking about the look of the downtown and what we want it to look like and what's the theme and every piece of land seems to be just in its own standalone theme and certainly in that area. Can we get a consensus on how we would like to do this instead of always having, this guy really wants to sell his land and he really wants the highest and greatest amount. And then we push everything to the edge. And at the end of the day, look what we have left. 7 Monument Place has not done anything. The landscaping looks terrible. They haven't even put in the rain gutters on their building. How many years do they have to be there to make their money to get that back the way it's supposed to be? And then so they can get, commercial underneath them. It's a sad area down there and we just keep adding to it. So that's my opinion, but I'd like to have some more people talk about it.
A big part of the downtown revitalization project is to come up with a vision for downtown. So that's in process. So I would hate for this group to go in a different direction. I think it's important for this group to be part of that conversation and then take the guidance that comes from the consultant team and advance it at that point. But I think we are in process, and I know it's frustrating not to know, but that project should wrap up in May or June of this year. So we will be getting that guidance soon.
Well, don't you think we should be asked as design review to put some input into that guidance?
Well, we hired this consultant team to come up with a plan for us. And certainly participation at the various community forums is super important. So absolutely, I think all of the members should attend those forums and provide input. So that project is, of course, under the direction of the Master Plan Implementation Committee. but I would absolutely recommend participation. There will be 2 additional forums. So the next forum is going to be discussion of the various redevelopment scenarios. And then the forum after that will be a discussion of the chosen redevelopment scenario. So those next 2 community forums, which we don't have a date for either of those yet, but hopefully we will soon. So yeah, your participation is super important at that point.
And I think I did email the whole committee what you had emailed the planning board, Lori, like where we stand, the last 2 slideshows that the consultants presented
Mhm.
and your summary. So I emailed that out a couple days ago to this board. But if you didn't get it, let me know and I can send it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very difficult to help in the design when none of it has a theme. It's pretty much whatever. So I'm looking forward to that, hopefully pulling it all together.
Great. Does anybody else have any input? It's 9:58. If we don't, huh?
I'm okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Dave
Can't
Varon,
hear you, Dan. I'm on now. Figured it out. When I have multiple screens, and when I'm, for some reason, when it goes to a different screen, I can't do this. It's crazy.
it's hard. Maybe we should meet in person soon. So we could sit around the drawings and have a better conversation. But it's up to the board how they feel. If they like Zoom better, if you want to meet in person.
Next week, the next meeting, I'm bringing that yacht that I couldn't be here back up to Massachusetts, so I'm gonna have to be Zoom. as long as
Okay,
I-
that's fine.
That doesn't matter to me.
Okay, that's perfect. All right, so I'll do a roll call vote. Lisa,
Aye.
Dave? Dario?
Aye.
All right, everybody, have a safe trip on your boat up. That sounds exciting.
Not mine, I'm just captain.
Take care. You can mute
Well,
now,
if you
Dave.
need a crew. All right,
You can
sounds
mute
good.
now.
Thanks.
See
Have
ya.
a good day, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.